On this episode of Podcastification, I am talking to you from my pickup truck about user experience and audio quality. Let's do it. My name is Kerry Green, and I am the client happiness guy at podcastfasttrack.com, and this is Podcastification. This show is all about podcasting. How to do it, how not to do it, best practices, interesting news items that have to do with the realm of podcasting, and who knows what else. And I'm trying to do it all with a little bit of fun and some information to help you get a show going, keep yours going, or make it better. And if you like what's going on here on the show, I would appreciate it, so appreciate it, if you could leave a rating or review on iTunes. You can find out how to do that at podcastfasttrack.com/review. That's enough of that kind of stuff. Let's get you podcastificated right away. Okay, so I'm driving in my pickup truck on the way to Denver from where I live up in the mountains of Colorado, and I decided it was worth recording with substandard audio, which is kind of ironic considering what I'm going to talk about, because this is such a top-of-mind issue for me. You see, the story goes like this. When I drive places, especially somewhere that's going to be just me in the vehicle driving alone for a number of hours, which is fairly often the case when I go to Denver, I binge listen to podcasts. So I download lots of stuff and I listen one after another to both increase my learning and also just to pass the time. Well, today, the very first podcast I listened to, I was very excited to listen to because it's one of my favorite shows. It's called Masters of Scale, and it's done by the host, the founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman. And it is a great show. The production value on the show is typically very amazing. They do all kinds of sound effects and different voices and interview clips mixed in with narration. It's just a really great show. You should listen to it. But today, I was listening to episode number 10 of, I believe it's season number 2. And something happened in the production that brought this whole issue to mind and was something that I thought I should bring to you as a person who's podcasting and a person who wants your podcast to serve your audience well. And the issue is that of audio quality, and in particular, audio levels. Now, because of the way that Masters of Scale does their podcast with narration, which is usually Reid Hoffman himself, narrating particular points and aspects of the story he's trying to tell, it integrates that with segments or clips from the overall interviews that they've done with the people involved. It mixes that in with sound effects. It mixes that in with music. It mixes that in with all kinds of really cool stuff. But because all of that is done, it's absolutely vital that one step in the audio post-production process is never, ever missed. And that is the leveling. The compression, the things that make the audio pieces that you put together balance out together. Now, I can tell you why I was able to notice this so easily on this episode. First of all, it sounds like whoever the audio engineer was on that particular episode just kind of stepped over that aspect of the audio optimization. You know, I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what happened. But it sounds like, to my ear, which is a fairly trained ear when it comes to audio, that the leveling and the loudness levels and perhaps compression was not even touched once all the components of the episode were put together. And the reason I say that is this. I'm driving in my pickup truck, remember? I have in earbuds. I'm driving along and I'm listening, and Reid's voice sounds great. The level is pretty normal compared to what it normally is on these episodes. And then the very first time that an interview portion comes into play, it's a much lower volume level. And so much so that it's hard for me to even hear it, especially since there's a little bit of road noise. You can probably hear that in the background here. You see, leveling and compression and loudness levels are incredibly important because you never know where your listener is going to be when they are listening to your episode. They could be just like me driving in their car. And, I've got a 2004 pickup. It's not the most well-insulated vehicle on the market. And so you get to hear the road noise. It's a privilege. It's a perk of having a beat-up old truck that serves you well. The person may be on the treadmill. I was listening to a show one time, and I was on the treadmill, and I could not hear what was being said in the podcast. Well, that's an issue of loudness level being set incorrectly or not being said at all. So I want to take just a moment to highlight how simply you can deal with this issue. Okay, you've heard on one of my previous episodes, a episode that I did that was highlighting the online tool Auphonic. Auphonic has a free version. I believe it's 2 hours worth of audio that you can run through their system for free every month. And you can set things like leveling and loudness levels so that your final product is entirely balanced. It doesn't take a lot of expertise. It just takes an ability to know what is a loudness level and what is leveling, and choose whether or not you want it to be applied to your audio files. And Auphonic does it for you. You can find Auphonic at auphonic.com. Now, there are ways in your various digital audio workstations, DAWs, or audio editing software that you can do the same sort of thing. I know it exists in Audacity. I know it exists in Adobe Audition. I know it exists in Pro Tools. I know it exists in Hindenburg. I know that you can do this. All it would take is a quick YouTube search for your particular software with the words leveling or loudness level or something like that. And you will find, guaranteed, a pretty helpful tutorial on how to do those things right there in your audio editing software. This whole issue of audio levels is so vitally important. And as I'm saying in the episode, there are lots of ways that you can address it. One of the ways is to know your audio editing software backwards and forwards, because the better you know it, the better you're able to address issues like this yourself without having to depend on a third-party app like Auphonic or one of the others. And I'm here to tell you on this particular mid-roll section of the podcast that the Podcast Fast Track team has created a course about Audacity, the free open source software that you can use to produce your own podcast. And our course, all in, the entire 3-course package, I call it the all-in-one version, is only $39. $39 to learn your software backwards and forward. It's called Audacity for Podcasting. And you can get it at that very same website, audacityforpodcasting.com. Or if you're already on the Podcast Fast Track website, you can look under the courses header at the top, and a drop-down menu will appear, and you can choose the Audacity for Podcasting option there. You will learn everything you need to know to put together an episode, including the audio leveling portion. So don't miss it. audacityforpodcasting.com. Folks, I can't tell you how vital this is. I can't tell you how important it is. Because what you're going to run into if you just slap together some audio and export it from your editing software and throw it onto your media host is you are going to experience a declining number of subscribers over time. Because the worse your audio is, the less professional and impressive your show is. And no matter how great your content, people are going to begin unsubscribing from your show. Because the place where they listen most, perhaps it's in their car, perhaps it's on the treadmill, they can't even hear your content. Do you get that? Why would they stay subscribed to a show that they can't even hear? You see, you want to do something about this, and you want to take it seriously. It really is only about a 5-minute addition to your process. It's something that's really kind of inexcusable in the day and age in which we live, where technology is so available, and there are even free versions of the tools that we need to take care of these problems. Hello? So are you getting the point that audio levels and loudness levels are vital. And I didn't say in the main segment, it's becoming increasingly more important because as more and more podcasts show up on the scenes, people are going to start making choices about what they have the time to listen to. And if your audio levels are funky, you're making it very easy for them to say, nope, not this one. It's not worth my time because it's not done very professionally. I'd love to hear what you do for audio leveling. How is it that you address this issue on your podcast? Hit me up, Carey, Carey, at podcastfasttrack.com. That's all the time we have for this episode. You know what time it is. It's time for you to go out and make it a podcastificating day. This show is brought to you by Podcast Fast Track, where my team provides professional podcasting services without the time suck. Full production, editing, and show notes, all in one monthly subscription package. You can find out more at podcastfasttrack.com. Now go out and make it a podcastificating day. Audio editing and show notes by podcastfasttrack.com. Get 15% off your first month by mentioning this show.